Hello there everyone and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, Better Than Starting Manned. I am back from a vacation and it is time to go back to Eve with a monster. Thank you all very much for your suggestions over the past week while I was away, and we have a new ship ready to fly. So here's the mission profile as it stands. We have our new 120-ton launcher. The actual payload is 113 tons, and this is the revised yet again version based on your everyone's feedback. Thank you all so much for your suggestions, your thoughts, and your advice. That strut didn't connect for some reason. This thing is so strutted, it's absolutely insane, but that's the way it is with this particular design. So we have the big launch at the bottom here. A whole bunch of mainsails ready to go. Stage 2 is sufficient to get 120 tons into a low Kerbal orbit. And then we have this beastie right here. So what we have is a 2-stage interplanetary booster, 4 LV-909s for the initial thrust, and then a poodle for the remainder. I figure it'll be a nice, basically a way of cleaning up the, or making this transition stage a little lighter by getting rid of all these tanks later. I'm not sure it's really necessary, but it seemed like fun, so I went with it rather than making it taller. We have 2 disabled, and this is actually something I have to go through and do right now. 2 disabled RCS tanks there. We have 1 disabled RCS tank right there, and we have, oh come on, there we are, 6 disabled RCS tanks right there. We have a disabled OKTO core on that stage, the master core right here, and the we'll have more than enough power, so let's not worry about it. Core for the return, for the getting this mess out of orbit, and we're just going to deorbit. We're not going to leave that in orbit. It'll be a mess. So 2 tanks of gas. Tempting to put some RCS on here, but I'd rather not have to discard useful RCS quantities. So we've got double science. We've got right here up at the very top we have an Eve lander and atmospheric sampler and the whole 9 yards. Thinking about putting, actually, you know what I'll do? I just had a thought. I got enough mass, just enough mass to sneak 1 more battery onto this Eve thing. If I can just get a view on it. I'll sneak, whoop. This whole thing got a little weird in terms of its design. We need to go. Arg! Come on. There we are. Alright, we'll get rid of this. We'll get 1 battery on that stage there. Now, let me see. Let me just check the mass of those, as long as we're not going too high. 1.6. Okay. So the 4 batteries, the reason for the 4 batteries is because of the way we're going to be doing this mission. See, this probe here with this small engine on the very top, which is now unfortunately detached. There we are. There we are. Okay, you go up to there. Why? What? Okay, that was weird. Alright, we'll do it this way instead. Oh, oh, what the heck? I didn't just accidentally do that, did I? I hope not. Okay, that must have just been a little accident. Come on. I say 4 connectors, you give me 4 friggin' connectors. We may be just hitting the outer limits of what this thing can handle. There we go, that's better. Okay, so this probe at the very, very top here, we're going to get into a... how do we put this? We got all the orbital science on Eve. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this whole ship into a Eve atmosphere intersecting orbit. So it's going to be below 90 kilometers. Periaps on Eve in the same plane as Gilly. Alright? And then we're going to detach this whole uppermost ship here. So from this point right here. And this is, we're going to boost the rest of the ship just out of Eve atmosphere, but we're going to keep it in the plane with Gilly, just so that we can leave this beastie in orbit. And this, we are going to use this engine to basically get it into a atmosphere landing orbit, but with enough time to I'll hopefully transmit sensor array data as we go down, because we need to gather the data from we need to get the data from the upper atmosphere as we go down. Anyways, so that's the ship, I think. Let's just double check one last thing. Staging, there's the main stage. Based on suggestions, I have added separatrons, more separatrons to everything. It should work fine now. Let's remove the middle stage, and there's the engines. Upper stage, and there's the engines. Remove the outer stages and fire the middle engine, and then this is getting into the stuff that I'll probably finesse by hand, because I don't really want to disable that by accident. So that is the ship. So without any further ado, let's launch this monster, because I don't see any reason to put this off. This is going to be the first time you'll actually see this finished 120-ton lifter, which I'm pretty proud of. Thank you all for your feedback. The last 3 episodes have been real education. The main education being, when in doubt, add more struts. More and more and more and more and more. Yeah. So we're saving a lot of electricity by using the disabled probes. That should save us some serious trouble on the interstellar flight. Just keep my mouse out of your way here. This thing's going to be a real, probably pushing the limits. No, it's probably not. We're probably okay. Okay. Settle, big guy. That's a big ship. Holy smokes. All right, everybody. Launching in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. I'm not sure how much of that is the actual ship's mass and how much of that is just the whole thing just going. I think that might be my computer having a little bit of a fuss on us as well. So here we go. Eve Explorer Mark II, and it wants... Oh! Okay. Well, might as well. Apparently we're going to grab some science on the way up. So why the heck not? Best part is we're doing this when we have excess power. It's a big one though. That's a lot of data it's got to transmit. I don't know which communicatron it is, but it's... Oh, there it is. Look at that. Glitch fest. Alright, looking good. I hope that's... I don't think that has aerodynamic qualities, so we should be okay on that front. It seems to be following the design spec that I set up for it. Okay, but note to self, that is a very, very large data set there. So that could be a problem for our Eve lander here. I think we'll be okay. What we might do is we might dip through the upper atmosphere and grab that data before we detach the upper part of it. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll have this whole thing, we'll do an Eve upper atmosphere braking maneuver. A very, very, just skim the upper atmosphere so we can grab that this data we're transmitting right now in full. Okay. Alright, good stuff. It'll be a while before we're into the upper atmosphere here. But this thing's looking good. We did put I don't know if you noticed, but we put a large inline reaction wheel on this thing as well. So we've got a much stronger rotational assistant to work with. Okay, well, that's a nice bonus. We're going to get a tiny bit of science from the Kerbal atmosphere as a bonus on this flight. Not nearly adequate based on our experience. I mean, Kerbal science is woefully inadequate as far as our current tech level is concerned. Okay, so if my memory serves, and if this thing hasn't changed so drastically because of my design, changes, we should... Here we go, 60 science is 60 science. This thing, we should be able to do the turn on this without issue. Feels more sluggish this time, though. That's unfortunate. Pretty sure I kept it above the below the 120-ton target, even with this one extra. It's well below, actually, and I did launch a full 120 tons with my final test. Oh yeah, there we are. We're right on schedule. Here comes 10,000. We're about to start our turn, which we can do without incident now. A little careful, because that is a heavy ship returning. As you can see, a heavy, laggy ship. Probably because of all the extra stuff we put on here. Go. Slow down. Slow down. Get rid of those. And there's the beauty of the separatrons working the way they're supposed to. There we go. Just a little longer on that central stage. Which you can now throttle up to full. Come on. Oh. It's a little tiny bit unstable because of its length now. The extra engines were definitely a stabilizing factor, but we're doing okay. We're doing okay as long as it doesn't rotate upwards. Just keep boosting. Be a little better once we're rid of the slowest stage. Now, the only thing I have not checked is our concordance with Eve at this point in time. That is a thing that we will have to deal with once we're in orbit. Probably between episodes, just based on... Oh. We'll just keep that data. We will refrain from doing anything distracting while we are getting into orbit. We'll transmit that from orbit off camera. Too many things to worry about right now. I do not want to be worrying about whether or not an antenna is going to shred off the ship. Okay, getting ready for our transition. We're at 25 and rising. We're about to ditch some serious dead weight. There we go. Just a little longer. Just a little bit longer. Wow. It's got some serious lasting power right there. Good stuff. That worked really well. Stage 1, about to clear. A little bit of wobble, but come on, hold her steady. Wow, that last stage is just going forever. Okay, there we go. Perfect. 4 engines, RCS on now that we don't have any. And it should be using these little tanks right here. But we also do have thrust vectoring on this ship, thanks to our the new skipper engine, which we got at some point in recent times. Okay. So far, so good. Now, at about when the apoapsis time down here, hopefully you can see my mouse good. I actually figured out how to make sure you can actually see my mouse now. When it hits about 45 seconds, we can start doing some more vectoring. As long as it stays above and near 45 seconds to... Yeah, if we start vectoring now, I want to keep it... See, what we're doing is we're transitioning some of the energy into the periaps now by vectoring further. And so that our apoapsis doesn't rise completely crazy out of control. But we do need to have our apoaps go out of the atmosphere. You know, that's just a thing that's got to happen. But so far, so good. I'm liking the way this is looking. The mission is planned. The die is cast. So we'll be doing some serious orbital manipulation during our transition between Kerbal and Eve this time to make sure that our arrival vector matches up with Gilly much better than our previous one. We were 90 degrees off of Gilly last time. It's about as bad as it can get. We need to be at least within about 15 degrees for this to be reasonable in the future. Okay. Trying to keep this efficient. There we go. We're at about 65. We're about to get out of the atmosphere. We'll go for about 75-ish. And then we'll cut the engine. 71. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. Okay. Now we need the RCS. This little... Yeah, I cut a lot of RCS off the design, by the way, in case you're wondering. And if I wasn't fighting with the SAS, I'd probably get a little bit more punch out of it, rather than having it do the crazy wobble. Do the crazy wobble. Okay. Alright. Since we're still in the atmosphere, this rotation can be manipulated. Without stabilizing it by accident. Okay, at T-minus 30. We will fire the engines right at the horizon. There we go. Ready to cut the engines when the apoapsis starts getting out of control again. But it's looking good. When it hits 45, we will cut the engines for another pulse. There it is. T-apoapsis down to 27. Another pulse. Trying to do this as efficiently as possible here. T-minus 15 and push. Ooh. That was crazy. A little bit of a camera wonky there. Now my instinct is it's probably going to be quite a while before we are in a full, proper encounter with Eve. Just doing our final little burns here. And we just need to make sure this mess at the bottom is under control. Oh, that is just about perfect. Look how little RCS we used. Circularizing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we are. Now that is a nice round orbit, everyone. A little bit of juice left in the tanks, but we'll just leave that behind. Let's make sure this one's on. Check. Probe core enabled. On the main ship. Check. Primary probe core up here, disabled. Good. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to decouple this. And go back away. And rotate to retro. No, SAS off. Come on, 180-degree turn. Now, I did not set this thing up to be recoverable. Probably a regrettable situation, but I just could not quite figure out how to do it with this setup, so I decided against worrying about it. It would have just added to the mass of the launch, and I think with the difficulties we've had, it's probably worth just not fretting about it. And we're just going to get this thing into an atmosphere or even ground intercepting angle. I guess I could have used some of this fuel to get us into a slightly higher orbit, but I'd rather just be rid of it. Okay. There we go. Look at that. Little pulse and away it goes. There we are. Alright, it's hitting the ground, so mathematically it will disappear. Good. And good thing too, the Eve Explorer is roaring away at an epic speed. RCS off. Let's use the, see how good this inline reaction wheel is. It's slow. Review data. Before we transmit, we definitely need a little... Oh! Well, no wonder the RCS isn't working. We turned the RCS off. Okay, and RCS will be off. Let's get this data on its way home. And that's going to be expensive and time-consuming. And we will do that mostly off-cam. Well, not off-camera, but we'll figure out where we stand as far as Eve is concerned and figure out what our next move is. All right, and we should just do a physics warp. There we go. Gets rid of the data real fast there. We have a lot of batteries on this thing, by the way. It's probably... Yeah, well, it's technically excessive, but we have two completely unrelated... Oh, right. Kerbal atmospheric sampling. Atmospheric sampling is biome-based. I wonder if that's the case on Eve as well. If it is, that's going to really change... Well, this will just be bonus anyways. Okay. So, note to self. Science, upper atmosphere science is possibly even low atmosphere. Oh, we'll have to have a look. That's interesting. I'd forgotten about that. Let's see. So we do a sun... Let's see. That is the departure that goes inwards. Perfect. Eve is behind us. How close are we going to get is the question. Oh, are we close? Hold on. We're actually pretty close to the right day for departure, aren't we? Yeah, I'd say about a few weeks, a few days, and we'll be in pretty close approach. Possibly if we even adjust our departure time by a few... No. But... That's actually... Yeah, okay, so that's not much. So what we're going to do is we're going to quick save. Like so. And we are going to go to the... Not to there, we're going to go to the Space Center. And we are going to run... 15 days, give or take. Let me see, it was how far behind? We were going to be getting there before the planet, which means we were leaving too soon because we're waiting for Eve to catch up with us. So we do need Eve to do a slight rotation. We can double check that by doing this. Eve is currently more than... That's about 60, 70 degrees. So we need... About... Let's try that. Eve Explorer, fly. See how our how it looks. We're going to plan this burn now. I think we'll be good to do that. I was not expecting... The launch actually went really smoothly. I'm confident. I mean, you guys might tell me that that ship cannot transmit that atmospheric data, and that'll be, oh, too bad, so sad. I'm not going to be too worried, too broken up about that. So let's just go with 0 on that. Let's delete that. And let's set the target. Set here. Come on, add maneuver. 1400. The heck? What is going on? Something really wacky has happened with my... Okay, let's get rid of this. I don't know what's happened, but... Oh, maybe we're leaving it the wrong part of the day. That's probably it, yeah. That looks a little better. The hell? Okay. 0... No. Hold on. Why did that not 0? 0, 0, 0. Oh, right. Duh. Okay, let's just take it out. Aha! Whoa. Oh, hold on. Oh, there it is. Okay. Have we overshot? Negative. We are still... Okay. Still not close enough. We need to go... See, if we're off by about 5 degrees, so this thing needs to go about 5 degrees further. Okay, let's get out of here. We'll leave the quick save the way it was. We'll just do one more time accelerate. Again, about another 5 or 10 days. Or weeks. 5 degrees of orbit or so. It's all about Windows and not the horde. Oop, that should do it. That was more, one tick faster than I expected. We'll just take it in and try it again. We're trying to get the most efficient transition as possible. I have no idea if I'm going to have to put the middle engine into the party here for the actual flight, but I hope not. Add the maneuver. 1000. There we go. Going 10 at a time. Still too far away. That's interesting. Alright. It's going to take just a little more finessing, which I will do off camera, but you see what I'm going to be doing for the next little while. I will do this between this episode and the next. I will finesse this down to an actual encounter. And in the next episode... Hold on, yeah, that should... Actually not an ideal intercept, is it? That's about where we want to be. Yeah, let's see. We get there faster, which means we arrive further away. So that's just about the ideal interception there, because we're almost perfectly matching its orbit. Yeah, that's probably what it'll be right there. About 1050 plus some normal, which we could actually play around with. But I think we're not at the right closest approach yet. Yeah, those numbers aren't going to help us right now. Okay, so what we'll do is over the next few minutes after I end this episode, I will get the encounter, And in the next episode, we will do our burn and our interplanetary finessing of the orbital. So our interplanetary orbital adjustments will be in the next episode. Hope you liked it. Let me know if you have any concerns, criticisms, comments about this beastie here. I'm quite pleased with it, but I always like to hear what you guys have to say. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.